Nike means victory in Greek, but when it comes to daily trainers, has Nike really been winning? That's what their brand new lineup overhaul is trying to fix. In this video, we'll look at three shoes: the Nike Invincible 3, the Nike Vomero 18, and the Nike Vomero Plus. Where do they fit in the new Nike-verse? How do they perform? And which one is right for you? Hi, I'm David from Ratings.com.
I'm also David from Ratings.com, and we'll run through how we tested these shoes, their strengths, their weaknesses, and which one makes sense for different runners. Here at Ratings.com, we subject every shoe to a series of rigorous lab tests. We measure every dimension to see if they match up with advertised specs. We dissect them to see what's inside. We scientifically test how efficient the energy return is. We measure how well the cushioning absorbs impact at different forces. And we also subject them to the ultimate test. We run in them. So let's discuss these three shoes. First, we have the Nike Invincible 3, a classic high-stack cushion trainer with Nike's Zoom X midsole. This shoe is a little bit older and has already been out for a few years.
The Invincible 3 marks the end of the line, as Nike has already announced that they'll be discontinuing the short-lived Invincible series, but you can still find some pairs of these available online. Now, one criticism of the Invincible series was that the shoe's design was too chaotic.
I found the heel was cushioned, yet wild, to the extent that I understood some of the model's stability features in the form of guide rails and why they were implemented. While the forefoot was initially bouncy, it felt firm with use. It felt like running with two different shoes. It was a partly fun shoe, but not cohesive at all.
And this was a problem with Nike's daily trainer lineup more broadly. It was just too chaotic and cluttered, with lots of unclear overlap between different product lines. So Nike is now restructuring their lineup around three core pillars: the Pegasus series, the Structure, and the Vomero.
Which brings us to our next shoe, the Nike Vomero 18. It's a modern cushion trainer that also features a layer of Zoom X foam at the top, and it's supported by the carrier-based foam, the React X foam, which is less bouncy but more stable. I found that the Zoom X foam on this model is not as prominent as the previous iteration, the Vomero 17, and it can definitely be felt on the ride. The Vomero 18 in a US size 9 weighs in at 297 grams. The heel stack is 42 millimeters with a heel to toe drop of 10 millimeters. A drastic change from its previous iteration.
If the Vomero is one of the solid pillars around which Nike is rebuilding its lineup, the Vomero Plus is the ostentatious new addition being added on. It's a max cushion shoe that features full-length Zoom X foam, just like the Invincible 3, with an upper that feels similar to the Vomero 18. It's kind of like if the Invincible 3 and Vomero 18 had a baby. The heel stack height on our US men's size 9 pair is 44 millimeters, slightly taller than the Vomero 18. But despite that, it weighs less at only 287 grams. This also makes it slightly lighter than the Invincible 3.
So, how do these shoes actually perform? Let's put them to the test. We put these shoes through a compression machine to see how much energy gets returned from the midsole and how much is lost when force is applied to both the heel and the forefoot. As a baseline, let's take the Nike Invincible 3. Overall, it has good energy return. The heel in particular is great at bouncing back, but the forefoot also does a good job with energy return initially. But from our experience, it tends to bottom out after several kilometers, resulting in a firmer ride.
Now, given that the Vomero 18 has a layer of that denser React X foam, we would expect that it's not going to be as springy. Our expectations were correct, and the difference is noticeable. The energy return from both the heel and the forefoot is poor. The lab data confirms what we felt running. This shoe does not have a lot of bounce.
So how about the Vomero Plus? With the full Zoom X midsole, it should be closer to the Invincible. The overall energy return is pretty similar to the Invincible 3, with good bounce back in both the heel and the forefoot. So in practical terms, that means if you're putting the same amount of force into each step with both shoes, you're going to be getting more energy return from the Vomero Plus than if you were running in the Vomero 18.
Let's look at the cushioning next. We also test how well the midsole of each shoe absorbs impact, which helps us know how well our legs will be protected from the pounding.
The Invincible 3 did a better job of absorbing impact in the heel than in the forefoot, but neither was remarkable. Particularly in the forefoot, where the shoe tends to bottom out over a span of less than 5K for me. Overall, the cushioning is not bad in the heel, but the forefoot leans more towards ground feel that you traditionally get from traditional daily trainers.
The Vomero 18 does a much better job of cushioning each blow. The heel is significantly better cushioned and provides pretty consistent protection as more force is applied, which is good for heavier or faster runners. The forefoot is less cushioned, so it's more likely to bottom out on long runs, but it's still better than the Invincible 3.
With all this Zoom X foam, the Vomero Plus should do well in the cushioning test. This midsole does an impressive job of protecting your legs from heavy impact and does not show signs of any weakness or bottoming out. Even when applying maximum force in our lab test, the Vomero 18 has good cushioning, but the Vomero Plus is great.
Now, let's talk about stability. Our stability score is based on a number of objective measures. We look at how much the midsole firms up when different force is applied. We measure the outsole width to stack height ratio at various points on the shoe, how the tongue is gusseted, whether the midsole has a plate. It's very complex.
The Invincible 3 actually scored pretty well on our stability test. It has a decently wide base, and although the heel could feel a bit mushy, guide rails provide a secure lockdown to compensate for the wild ride. The forefoot, on the other hand, is consistently firm. Throughout the forces we applied, despite the chaos, this is an impressively stable shoe.
The Vomero 18 is smooth and stable. The layer of ReactX foam on the bottom of the shoe acts as a carrier foam that stabilizes the bouncier ZoomX foam above it. It has a wide enough base to offset its tall stack height, and the outsole is also very grippy, so you feel connected to the ground. The lateral stability of this shoe is very good, but not as good as the lower to the ground Invincible 3.
And then there's the Vomero Plus. We'd expect a shoe with this much cushioning and stack height to struggle on our stability test. And it's definitely not as stable as the Vomero 18, but the Vomero Plus is decently stable. The forefoot stays firm at lower and moderate forces, and the shoe is big with a big enough width to offset its height. Stability clearly isn't the Vomero Plus's priority, but it still does a satisfactory job at staying steady.
So, where do these shoes fit in both the Nikeverse and in the overall market? Among Nike's core daily trainers, the Vomero 18 is a more modern take on a daily trainer than the Pegasus 41, with a higher stack height and softer cushioning. The Vomero Plus is both a pluser version of the Vomero 18, but also a kind of replacement for the Invincible 3. Just as the Pegasus series now has a legacy model, a plus version, and a premium version, the Vomero now has a plus version, and an even taller Vomero Premium will be released in October 2025.
The Vomero 18 belongs in the premium daily trainer category with shoes like the Saucony Triumph 23 and the Mizuno Wavesky 9. But in my opinion, the ride is more consistent and pleasant than most of these shoes in the category. The Vomero Plus is probably most comparable to the A6 Mega Blast, which is another bouncy maximalist shoe that finds a way to stack lots of cushion. It's a much more versatile model than the Vomero Plus for its capacity to pick up the pace. The Vomero Plus is also heavier and less energetic, as our results show.
So, which shoe is right for what purpose? I really like the Vomero Plus for long runs. The cushioning is so protective that even after a 30K run, my legs feel surprisingly fresh. It's not the fastest shoe, but I found it doesn't get in the way too much if you want to pick up the pace a bit. For triathletes, I really like this shoe for off-the-bike brick workouts because the comfortable upper makes the shoe very easy to slide on, and it feels great on already fatigued legs. I found the Vomero 18 to be very smooth and consistent. It doesn't feel too firm or too soft.
I found the Vomero Plus pleasant, but too cumbersome. With the TPE base midsole, I'd expect some capacity to pick up the pace, but the shoe is too heavy and it gets in the way of harder efforts. I prefer to have the Mega Blast, a shoe that is far more versatile and capable in my rotation to fill a spot for a maximal cushion non-plated model I could also hit marathon pace in. The Vomero 18 is not an overly fun ride, but it's smooth, stable, and consistent. The Vomero 18 was a pleasant surprise for me. It's a shoe I forget I have on my feet and provides sufficient of protection for my weekly mileage. If both Vomeros overlap in purpose, I'd lean more towards the Vomero 18 as I'd rather a boring ride to contrast the energetic shoes I'd use for my workouts during the week. Have you run these shoes yet? What do you think? Tell us below and let us know if there are shoes you want us to compare.
Until then, we are David from ratings.com, helping you find the best product for your needs.
Exaggerated expressions, you're like excited, thinking face. Yeah, that's pretty good, like pointing towards them.